Good afternoon, everyone. I am Naina. I'm your mediator for today. And we have Mr. Kumar and Ara. I hope you are comfortable with this arrangement. And how are you feeling today? It's a beautiful afternoon. How are you feeling today?
Good, feeling good.
Feeling good, just a bit troubled about the incidents happening, but I hope.
No worries. We'll totally get on
Yes.
with it. Before we begin, can we have a small introduction with each other? And please tell me how should I refer to you? And also please confirm that you have the full authority to do decisions and representations. We can start with the requesting party.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ms. Sunita Agarwal, the representing the Miova Water Sports Association. You can refer to the association as Miova, and you can call me Sunita. And I have the full authority to settle on behalf of Miova today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Gopal Subramaniam, and I will be assisting Ms. Sunita in today's session. You can address me as Gopal.
Nice meeting you, Sunita and Gopal. Can we have the responding partner?
Hi, everyone. I'm here. It's nice to meet you, Sunita and Gopal. And thanks for starting us off. My name is Jay Chodankar, and I am in my council.
Yeah, hi everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Shami. Please come for today and Jay doesn't come for that.
Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you, Jay. It's indeed a pleasure to meet you all. And it's my first time here in Goa, and let me tell you, I think God has taken his own time to create Goa. It's so beautiful. And I have visited some of the landmark houses. The authenticity and the tradition just touched my heart and anchored me to Goa. And I was yesterday dolphin watching, and it's one of the most prettiest sights I've ever seen my entire life. And I understand that in a community, conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. And thank you for choosing mediation as your mode of combat. And I would like to tell you what mediation is before. Well, as you know, mediation is a voluntary process. You are here. And mediation is also confidential. One of the most important virtues of mediation is confidential. And it runs in two ways. Whatever happens in this room stays here. All the notes will be shared at the end of the day. And whatever you tell here will not be used against you in the court. And the added layer of confidentiality comes in our private session. We call it the caucus session. In the private session, we'll be having one-on-one conversation. It's just one party and the mediator, where you can tell me your deeper interests, and it will not be revealed to the other party unless you explicitly tell me to do so. Now, to go ahead, one of the most important resources you have today here is information. If you swap information freely, we can come to understand what are your mutual grounds are, final interests are. Since Goa is known for its fishing, Goa is known for its waters, I would like to explain you better how mediation is like a very good fisherman. Just like how a fisherman casts a very beautiful net in the water, looking for bountiful cast, a bountiful fishes, mediation is casting a beautiful facilitation to catch the best resolution for the differences we have here. My role as a mediator is I want to keep the waters still so that there's harmony between everything. To move ahead, it's very important for you to be courteous towards each other. And my role here as a mediator, I am not going to be partial, or I'm not going to be a judge or an arbitrator. I'm totally here in a capacity to facilitate this mediation. I'll definitely be facilitating in option generation and facilitating you to a settlement agreement as well. If there has been any point of differences which has been settled in this session, I'll definitely be helping you out with settling agreement. And for today, we'll be following the Mediation Act of 2023 for the better understanding of the mediation. Now, again, mediation is not where winner doesn't have to take it all. Both the parties take mutually, and it's for betterment of both, where the harmony is created, when there is balance instilled. Now, before we begin, I have certain ground rules which I expect from both the parties to be obeyed. Firstly, I expect each party to listen to each other carefully, and one person speaks at a time, because if speaking is silver, listening is gold. And I expect you both to be flexible in your approach, because as you know, you can't shake hands with a clenched fist. And if you feel like this one session is not going to be enough, you can always have more sessions. So if you have no further questions, we can go ahead with
Thank you, Naina. You have made me already feel more comfortable than I was when I first entered the room. Now, given the circumstances that have brought us to this table today, it's really reassuring to know that we are in your hands, Naina, someone who will help us time and again understand what we are here for today. Now, Jay and Chami, my association with Miramar Beach transcends mere business. It's a profound passion to help the economy of Goa develop. We have dedicated ourselves to enhancing the interests and experiences of visitors who are coming here for tourism. And like Naina mentioned, even she's here, like her, millions of people come as tourists every year in Goa. And our water sports are significantly contributing to the numbers that they are bringing, and it's helping the economy as well. While it does trouble me to acknowledge the unintended effect it has had on the fishermen community, what deeply hurts me right now are the incidents surrounding protests and the recent protests and ongoing disputes coupled with the reports of our employees being manhandled. This has cast a very big shadow on our operations because employees are feeling unsafe to even come to the place of employment. And just like you, they are also local people. So I hope you can resonate with their thoughts and with their fears. It was really disheartening to witness a growing divide and learn that our employees are now unwilling to work on the Miramar beach itself. Now, the recent legal proceedings and these unfortunate incidents have served as a wake-up call, I'm sure, for us, and since you agreed to come here, for you as well. We recognize the imperative of a more harmonious coexistence and are open to solutions where both our interests can be accommodated. Our request for additional operational space and support stems from necessity and not from greed, which is what we've been made to feel by the protests that have happened and the manhandling of our employees. The demanding dynamics of the tourism and fierce competition, especially post the COVID pandemic, necessitate our adaptability and growth. However, on the advice of my counsel and friend Gopal, I've come to this mediation with an open mind, and I'm ready to explore solutions wherein we can meet midway somewhere and try to accommodate both our interests and expectations. In fact, now I would like to invite Gopal to take it on from here today and share what we wish to achieve from this session.
Thank you, Sunita. Firstly, thank you, Naina, for that pragmatic overview. It truly is assuring us and also ensuring confidentiality. It is comforting Sunita and I at the instant session. As I mentioned earlier, I am Gopal Subramaniam and I am assisting Sunita today as the legal counsel of Moira, the association. Now, I understand we're all from different cultural backgrounds and English might not be everyone's first language, so please feel free to stop us and ask us to repeat ourselves to avoid any confusion in this session. Let me begin by saying that if you catch me looking down, be rest assured I'm taking notes for Sunita and I's better understanding and to get a fruitful session as well. I'll be first explaining my role as counsel and second build on what Sunita has already spoken about. I'm accompanying Sunita today in order to simplify the legal terms being spoken about and to clarify the legal soundness and check the legal soundness of various proposals being offered by both parties, especially to protect the interests of Ms. Sunita Agarwal and Myowa. However, let me assure you, I will be acting in an advisory capacity strictly, and I shall not be exerting any influence on her decisions in any manner. We also echo with your belief that mediation is the best way to come to consensus, and with the help of Naina and Chami, I hope we can come to a settlement in this session or in the following sessions as well. Now, moving forward, before we roll the ball and dwell deeper into this session, Sunita and I are here to discuss two main interests. Naina, I request you to take note of this as well. One, discussion on operational stability and employee safety. And two, discussion on improvement of the profit margin. I hope
Second one was?
discussion on improvement of the profit margin. With that, Naina, I hope you can help us formulate and structure this session for a fruitful mediation session as well.
Jay and Shani, can you go ahead with your statements?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to start by saying that you've taken some time today, this hour. I really appreciate you taking this time. And you have expertise, and I'm really looking forward to getting your help here today. And off the bat, you already mentioned so many things. I thought I liked the idea of payment fishermen. We are from that community, so that resonates with us a lot. And we do want to cast a wide net, coming prepared to discuss and widen this by as much as possible. And you mentioned harmony in your opening statement, and she mentioned taking the water still. So the seas are harmonious place, and I'm going to build on that. And before I say anything, because of how charged this matter has become, I brought counsel here today, Shani. And before I say anything, I would like Shani to perhaps outline exactly what the key issues are, so that I can comment on them.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. So before I begin, I would like to thank all of you men for guiding our session today, as well as Sunita and Gopal for being here. I think it's very heartening that we're all here because, I mean, it's quite apt, right? The beach is just like a walk away. So I think we've heard you, and it seems like what's important to you is the operational stability as well as the safety of your employees, in the sense that you need to continue operations. The second would be profits and competitiveness, right, with other beaches. Now, what's important to you, rest assured, is important to my client as well, which is why we hope to get into these issues later on in the session. Now, Naina, if you would give me a few minutes, I would like to discuss what has brought Jay to the table today and how he hopes to progress from here. Now, I think all four of us are quite aware of the litigation background behind all of this, but for your benefit, Naina, what we're facing right now is this. So, because of the incidents that have gone on, we're looking at three things. First would be the behavior of the fish, and basically they're moving away. We're not able to fish for them. This is due to two things: the noise of the boats and the lights, as well as the oil spillages. The second thing that we're looking at, as you know as well, would be the nets for our fishing that were torn by the jet skis, and this entails the loss of our current as well as future catch. And this net will require quite a lot of time as well as money to fix. The last thing that we're facing as well is the ever-expanding spots. So not just the number of the spots, but also the boats that are moving around our area, and some are getting a bit too close to the fishing areas where we can fish safely. And as things stand right now, the court has affirmed our right to, our tradition and our livelihood. But Jay is here because, similarly as what you said, we believe that mediation is a better way to resolve things moving forward. So that's why I like what you said, Naina, about traditions anchoring the Goa, and this is something very, very important to my client as well. So in supporting casting a beautiful net in working together today, I'd like to talk about what Jay is hoping to achieve at the table. So this can be summarized into 3 L's. The first would be livelihood, the second would be lifestyle, and the third would be a larger purpose of what we can both achieve today. So obviously, Jay will elaborate on these later on, but we just want to make it very clear today that all the discussions and the options that we discussed today will be assessed objectively along these 3 interests of ours, and we hope that that's being taken down as well. So now I'd like to pass the time on to Jay to share a bit of how he's feeling and what he hopes to achieve.
Thank you so much, Shani. That was very clear. And I just want to add some color to this. Nina, you know that I was really excited about this mediation before coming here. Maybe I can explain why. And to do so, I need to tell a quick story. The story is of this old sage. Old man, here, the usual sage characters, right? One day, his 2 disciples come to him, and they bring along a mango seed. The mango is already eaten. All they have is the seed with some flesh on it. And these 2 disciples are beaten up. They're all rough and rugged. One of them is bleeding. And the sage is like, what happened? And apparently, these 2 guys are fighting over that one mango seed. They both wanted to finish the last bits of flesh. And they came to the sage for help. What do we do? The sage simply took the seed, dug a hole in the ground, and buried it. He said to the 2 disciples, you water this hole every single day for the next 2 years. And after the 2nd year, both of you can eat as many seeds as you want. And to me, that's exactly what's happening. both come after fighting again and again and again over the mango seed. And by now you know the mango seed is the peach. We both cannot have the mango seed right now. But if we plant this seed, in 2 years, in the next generation, both of us, the fishermen, the tourist companies, will get to enjoy this beach. And I'm trying to find a way here to do exactly that. My sole purpose is to stop looking at this as a fight for one mango seed. Stop looking at this as one person wins, one person loses, because that's what the court kept doing, and I didn't like that. I think there's a way in which we can both get what we want, and we can both win-win, as you said, it's a term. I like that idea. And to really make things clearer then, let me add some color to our interest. In the short term, we're looking at livelihood. These are real people. We have about 50 houses. These fishermen need to eat, they need to support their families. There must be a way that we can protect our livelihood of fishing. The second thing is lifestyle. This is also identity. We've been doing this for so long. It's so difficult for us to just give it up, especially that we see this beach being encroached day by day. And the third, as a longer term interest here, is the larger purpose of seeing Goa prosper. We are Goans too, and likewise you are. So I think it would be in all our interests and mutual that we want to find a way that Goa is doing better in the longer term. It's a pretty place, right? And if we can do that as well, that would make me happy. And I've heard you, Kevin mentioned your interest. I have so many questions. Nena, you're so right, listening is gold. I need your help with this. I want to spend as much time as I can listening to the other party. I have so many questions. I need to know what operational stability really means. I want to understand this profit margin you're talking about. What exactly is this profit? How is it looking like now? And I'm going to ask all these questions. I would like you to give us that platform.
Definitely. So since I've heard both of you, and what I see on this table right now is that you both are looking for harmony, you both are looking for community, you are putting your differences aside. First things you want to do is you need to put your differences to work, not aside, and that's how we get harmony. And if I understand from what you want to discuss today, is that you want to discuss on the operation stability and employment safety, right? And the second point you want to discuss is discussion on the improvement of profits. Now, on the other hand, Jay, it was a beautiful analogy which you have given, beautiful story, and I do believe that we have to grow the seed right now so that we can reap the benefits for you and your future generations as well. Now, the 3 L's, beautifully put, is the livelihood, lifestyle, and larger purpose of Goa's prosperity. Now, we can set the agenda, broadly clubbing both your interests, and I'll be clubbing them, but please feel free to add on or change the sequence if you feel like. I'll be sticking to the L's you have mentioned, and I'll be adding your interest to those L's. And let's not term it as agenda, let's just term it as the points to harmony today, because that's what we are seeking for today. So our first point of harmony will be livelihood, where we will be discussing, in the bracket of livelihood, where we will be discussing on the operation stability and employment safety. Is it fine? We club them together? Alright. Secondly, we'll talk about the lifestyle. And in the lifestyle, we can again club the discussion on improvement of financial profits. Is it fine if we club that?
Okay.
And please feel free to correct me anywhere if you want to. And thirdly, we can have the larger purpose of Goa's prosperity. And I believe it goes to both of you, extend to both of you. If it's fine with both the parties, we can make this a point.
And then just last the point on livelihood that you helped us set down. We also want to discuss issues of the nets and the fishes. I
Yes.
think equally this is an interest that
So you have 3 other broad categories we want to discuss on. Firstly, the behavior of fishes, which have been getting troubled because of the noise of the boats and oil spillage. Secondly, you want to discuss about the nets being torn apart because of the bikes and boats. Thirdly, you want to talk about the ever-expanding sports, the ever-expanding business on the beach. So we can again club them each in our first point of agenda, where the livelihood of the boatfish and the livelihood of your employees' stability is discussed. Is it fine?
Actually, could I propose something?
Yes,
I
please.
propose just 2 words. The first is concerns. Because right now we're creating lists and sure you help with that, Nina. But I think it would be useful if we group all of this under concerns, so that you can say your concerns, we can say ours, so that we can hear each other out. And the second word I'm going to propose is compatibility. Because I think that you said it right, the goal of today's conversation is harmony. And once we state our concerns, I think what we're working towards here is to find a way that we can be compatible. And right now it seems that it's difficult because increasing profit margins might mean that we get less of each. But if we find a way to work through everything, maybe there's a way to make it compatible.
Nena, I think you have very succinctly, collaboratively put our agendas together and formulated the session's structure. I request you to put it on the whiteboard for clarity and for everyone's sake.
Definitely.
Thank
so
you.
we'll be firstly addressing the concerns. So we'll be addressing both the concerns regarding the fishing and your employee stability and profit. And secondly, we'll be talking about compatibility, about how we can expand.
Just a minor detail. The operational stability will also be included and the employee safety as well.
And if we could please discuss that before we proceed to discussing your issues under livelihood, the main reason being I'm really deeply troubled by the protest that's happened and it's resulted on manhandling of employees. So that is a very, very pressing concern for us. So once we can have some discussion on that and get solutions on the basis of that, we can proceed with your concerns under livelihood.
Definitely. Let me just update the whiteboard and we'll get back to the
Thank you.
Yeah, I think as what you said earlier, what's important to you is it's important to us. So if this is what you need to move forward, that's why it's more than happy to talk about this before talking about the next provisions. But I think, Nana, sorry to interrupt, but I was advising Jay that today's session is more of a conversation than a mediation. So please do allow us some flexibility and give us some guidance if we're going offshore.
So before we begin, I would like to suggest that at any point of time, if you feel like having a break to collect your thoughts or even have a conversation with your counsel, please feel free to do that. And if anytime you feel like you're not understanding what the other party is saying, you can choose to like a translator or a mediator. I both really not just to communicate, but also to understand what the other party is saying. So before we start, there was a lot of conversation regarding harmony, a lot of conversation regarding community. Can I ask you what does harmony mean to you first?
I think harmony to me means coexistence, like I had mentioned before also. So if we could find a way where both the parties could coexist together, keeping each other's interests in mind, that would be harmony for me.
Right. Jay, what's harmony for you?
Well, harmony for me is ensuring that in the long term, we both win from the use of this feature. And right now, the litigation is never doing that. So that's what harmony looks like.
Well, it's great to hear your both. Now, if you have any, we can start with our first point of concerns. Since you had a lot of questions, do you mind if they start with the questions?
If we could just
Yeah, definitely.
address our concerns first and then maybe you
Okay,
could
go
ask
ahead.
the
You know what?
question.
I want to hear and listen. Let's hear you out full.
Thank you so much.
Afterwards.
So, like I mentioned before, the incidents surrounding the protest, and I'm sure you must be aware about it as well, the manhandling of employees that has occurred. And that has led to several consequences for us also in terms of the victims, which I'll come to before. But before I address and come to all of that, I wanted to ask the LTF and especially you, Jay, how actively is the LTF involved in the recent protests on Miramar Beach, if at all? And what are your thoughts on the situation that has happened?
Well, Sunita, you're not suggesting that I'm instigating this protest, are you?
No, definitely, but it happened due to the fishermen complaining against whatever's happened with respect to the motorboat situation, etc., which I completely get. And a mediation session like this is the solution to that. However, the protests that has happened, we are not really sure about who's responsible for this. So if you would have noticed, that's why I ended my question with if any involvement. So I would be more than happy if you're not at all involved, and that's what I'm hoping for. But if we could have an honest conversation about indirectly also, if in any way LTF impacted the protest or maybe indirectly could have instigated the localers, because we understand that fishermen were also not at peace and were deeply disturbed. So
Sunita, it's very well. First, my response is no, but not at all involved in this. And we'll never do that. That's not how we operate as an organization. The second thing is,
That would definitely be a concern for me, but I don't think that would make me angry because even fishermen have been benefiting out of the activities that are happening. Because it is because of Miowa Sports that Miowa Sports plays a big role in tourism coming to Goa. And like you must be aware, the recent government initiatives for fishermen, example, the staying in hospitality where fishermen houses, and I'm hoping your houses too were converted into tourist houses, and you have gained profits from it as well. So, like harmony is something we've been talking about, and coexistence is something I've been mentioning. Our water sports have been helping the fishermen have a better lifestyle as well. So, while the concerns of motorboat and the concerns of the fishnet are very, very valid, and we do have solutions to address those concerns, we don't think that is something which should make you angry at the instance. First, let's have a conversation, let's have a talk. And if your concerns are not addressed by our solutions, then definitely we can come to the latter part of it.
For sure. And Sunita, just to clarify, I'm not. I just wanted to mention that I sort of understand where the question is coming from. I wanted to put the position at the table as well because we are representing them after all. And I think a lot of things said there, Shani, could you help us with that? Suggest ways we can move forward here because we're still trying to understand the concern.
Yeah, so it sounds like under this first point, obviously you're talking about the employees and we're talking about the fishermen, but we really want to understand you better. So maybe to move forward, I think earlier, Sunita, you mentioned negative impacts on the employees that you had. We would love if you could go into detail and maybe understand a bit more where that's coming from.
Surely. So, due to the protests that have happened, employees have been physically harmed. And because of that, they are now refusing, and they are, in fact, not refusing, they are scared to work on the Miramar beach. So, A, it's impacting the locals, it's impacting our employees, and B, it's impacting our water sports industry in our company as well because we do not have enough employees to carry on the operations of the same. And this is even linked to the tourism because if there are no employees to help with the operations of our motorsports like jet skiing, banana boat, etc., and I'm sure you would have undertook those as well, and if not, I'm hoping you do. But because of all of this, our employees are scared, and that's the negative impact that they've had. Plus, due to the injuries that they've incurred, the victims are claiming compensation as well right now. And if your question is answered, is it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
a
So,
lot has been said. I think just to make sure we're all
sure.
understanding you very clearly, essentially what is going on is that the employees are really scared. They've gone through some sort of physical injuries, and I think this is new to us. You mentioned that there's an issue of compensation for the employees as well. Do you think we should ask a bit more on what exactly that entails?
Yes,
what
because
makes it?
it does sound like you want to find a way to help these employees.
Yes.
What does that entail?
So we have certain ways in which we want to give compensation to the employees. However, we also have certain unconfirmed reports which I want Gopal to enter into.
Definitely. I think there were some unconfirmed reports suggesting that the LTF, that is the livelihood of the fisherfolk that you're representing, is collecting funds. And if so, could we have more details on the same?
Right, at the moment, I actually have not heard of this report, so this is also quite new to me. We're collecting funds? Okay. So, sorry, that slipped my mind. But, okay, I think before I comment on this any further, and not because there's any buzz at the table, but because there's some issues bugging me. I just want to find the right way to phrase it. Maybe I'll speak to the council and after that, maybe a quick brainstorming session, we can come back and share more to Sunita and Gopal. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
How long would the private session be? 5 minutes, I presume?
Now have a conference call by the minutes.
I just want to be clear about this, that there's an idea of confidentiality that what we which you have mentioned lately?
Yeah. You know what, Shami can take this question on the objective front and specifics, but I need to illustrate perhaps the difficulty in answering this question as well. Because, Nina, we can see now that even if we address all these small concerns, more keep popping up. Every time I ask a question, you bring up another concern, and the complaints just keep coming. We haven't even had a chance to get her on our side. And you see here, there's small issues, and then there's the bigger issue, which is at the end of the day, we are all still fighting over control of the beach. And as long as we're fighting over control of the beach, these issues will keep coming up. And I think that the more they share these complaints, the more I'm feeling like the long-term solution is not possible. And that's one concern I have. But that said, I'm going to come to your question now, and objectively, what do you have to offer us?
Yeah, so right now we want to be completely transparent here. We have collected 25 lakhs for this venture, and I think one hesitation for
What is this venture?
oh no, just for achieving something mutually beneficial. We're willing to put in the money if they are as well and working together. The only thing is that on top of the employees that they're mentioning, I think one thing that's important even monetarily and objectively is the repairing of the nets. And as you said earlier, that would take significant expenses.
So, in short, we are prepared to be reasonable here. We can give a sum to a collective effort to do the employee compensation, fix our nets, repair the beach, make sure that all these smaller concerns go away. And we are not right now hearing that other parties will do the same because they complain a lot.
What is the external amount of this 25 lakhs you're willing to spend on this?
At this point, I think that's just all we have. Right? So we can move around that figure based on what the other parties are offering as well. So I can't quite certainly answer that question
You want me to make this 25 lakhs confidential?
very well. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Yeah. And on that front, it's also now for the bigger issue. I need to get thoughts here, and please, Shani, please also help me out because we need to find a way that we can both see eye to eye. I think we still don't see each other as collaborative, as wanting to fix the beach problem together, as wanting to share the space. And that's why I brought up some of my concerns because the fishermen are always going to be there, and the employees are always there. Even if I pay them the max now, tomorrow they'll be fighting again. And I don't want this to keep happening. Right? So we need to work towards a larger solution before, and we need to have promise on the horizon so that we can solve short term and get the long term as well. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
What I would not suggest, but one of the things that should be going on with that, can you ever, like they are expecting some kind of fund for their employees' compensation, right? If I'm not wrong, something from the funds you have, and you want to use this to repair the nets. Very right to do so. It's your livelihood, very right to do so. If they ever given assurance that no other nets will be broken, will you be willing to at least put some kind of finance towards the employee compensation? I'm not suggesting you, I'm asking you, will you be open to exploring this one option?
Yeah. And I phrase it differently. I would say that if we can help them with their employee concerns, the question is, are they willing to help us with some of our concerns on the net? Because I think the first part of that answer is yes, we are willing to help.
Thank you. So I have heard you out, and I'll definitely be redirecting the advisory towards this, whatever you have told me, and I'll do something. Thank you so much. Look, I'll be having a session with them. You don't need a call for us? Oh, no, it's
First wanted to hear what you have to put forth, and then if required, we'll ask.
You have already been in the court, and court is where you don't speak. Court is where your lawyer speaks, and court is where the judge tells you something, and you have to abide by it. You are here in mediation, which means you will be listening to each other. You will be hearing each other out. And when I say listening properly what the other person has to say, and this goes for both ways. And somewhere there will be someone who will feel they have not been heard, right? And it's my role to balance that out. And I want to balance it out saying that employee compensation. However, the funds they have, they want to spend it on something else. They want to put it towards something else. They are willing towards going towards this employee compensation if there is an assurance from your side that you will be protecting their interests. What the interests are is upon you both to speak. But what I want the conversation to be right now is that we talk about how the funds can be managed and what the interests of both the parties are. And I want to start with Jay. Please tell us what your interests are and what you're expecting out right now.
Yeah, and then I just comment on what you just mentioned as well, very quickly. And simply put, Sudha, I do think that we understand where you're coming from. The employee safety is a big issue. And we are not in opposition to that. Because we think that we care about people, we care about fishermen, we care about employees as well. And I'm going to step out and say that I want to help you solve this problem of employee safety. And I'm willing to do that for you. Are you willing to help us out as well? In terms of these problems of nets, all skills that we have on our side. On a broad perspective, I need to hear that from you.
Yes, definitely we're open to that, but before that, could we also have a private session with you, since now I've heard what's on the table?
Just to clear the information report, whatever you tell me here is about mention and will not be shown that part unless you explicit it. You wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Naina. I just would like to state that since the beginning, I am open to solutions, and I mentioned earlier also that I have certain solutions to help their interests as well. However, the reason I have been addressing the protests is because I hope you understand that our employees getting manhandled is a really big issue for us, and that doesn't just affect employees, but it has affected tourists as well. So while I'm glad that they're ready to divert certain amount of their funds for employee compensation, and please communicate it to them that I really, really appreciate that. But to understand their interests as well, we had certain solutions which we want you to succinctly put it to them, and Gopal could highlight on the same.
Definitely. Before I deep into the suggestions and the solutions that we have for their interests that Jay has put forward, I think I'd really like you to communicate it to Jay and Shami, Naina, if you can, that the beach Miramar is an ecosystem that they are willing to protect as the fisher folk of Miramar. At the same time, the safety of Miramar is also codependent on the people that visit it and the people that are working to allow the visitors and the tourists to facilitate and grow in Miramar. So it has to work hand in hand that the fisher folk and the tourists, the employees, all of them form this beautiful exchange of the Miramar beach. And I think if you communicate that as well, that it has to be protected and the employees have to be safeguarded and not mistreated in any manner. Coming to the solutions that we've come and culled out, one of the most pressing concerns that they have raised is the fishing nets and the disturbances to the fishing, to the quality of the fish that they're seeking. I think we've discussed this, and the solution that we can propose so far is a fishing demarcation within the Miramar beach. So in a sense, the beach will be demarcated for the fishing zone for the fisher folk of LTF, and that will be exclusively for the LTF people, and the other zone would be for the tourists and the water sport activities for our association.
So just to add on to what Gopal stated, if you could put and especially the victims in this case, then we are ready to discuss these solutions, but do tell these solutions to them before they talk about the funds, because I want them to feel at ease, I want them to feel heard.
Definitely.
Thank you.
One of the solutions suggests that demarcating
Correct.
place, one for tourism, one for fishing.
Yes.
One of the three concerns mainly was that behavior of the fish, which is going that is going to get being solved by
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now they will be heard.
Yes.
Secondly, nets being thrown. Now,
Correct.
with this, the future nets will end be thrown. anything you can do to repair or help them out with the past torn nets? Like, I'm just asking this, I'm not suggesting you anything, but would you be up for any kind of solution which would help them facilitate those nets? Because apparently the nets, once they get it torn, it takes them 15 days to resew.
Right.
That's 15 days of not having bread and butter.
Right.
Which is same for you. Your employees get hurt, their bread and butter gets affected. Not only that, they are in a very dangerous situation as well. And you wouldn't believe that both your interests are very same. Both of you want to exchange
Right.
and get what, and you are definitely offering what they want, and they are definitely offering what you want. But if you have any other solution, or maybe any other avenue you want to explore, I am open for that. And again, you are looking for some funds for employee compensation. Is there any particular number you are thinking of? Is there any kind of benchmark you are thinking of?
So we are looking for around 20 lakhs in funds, but that is a flexible number because first we want to hear from them how much funds have they secured, because we are completely unaware of it since they were unconfirmed reports. And to answer you brilliantly stated that we could consider the Fisher nets being torn, the nets that were torn previously, and what we can do for that. So if these funds are diverted for our employees, the employees will come back. And when the employees come back to the beach, I think the time is up, so I don't mind suggesting this in front of the parties as well.
Do you mind if I reveal this 20 lakhs to them, that you are like you want a amount of 20 lakhs and you are flexible to
You can reveal whatever we stated in the session and then just give it to me to give this
Great,
suggestion.
great.
Yeah.
And I'll invite them.
How are you?
That was an intense focusing. So before we go into the joint session, there are some things I want to do. Firstly, they are here to assure you that they are willing to take care of your necessities. And one of the solutions they have come towards is that demarcating a specific area of the beach, Piranha Beach, that is one demarcation for the tourism, where the boating and the biking and all the tourism activities take place, and one part of the beach where fishing happens, so that the behavior of your fish doesn't get affected, the nets don't get torn. Now, they are expecting some funds for their employee compensation. Again, employees not being working, that means that they don't have bread and butter to cook. So their lives are put in danger. They're expecting around 20 lakhs of amount, which is flexible, and they were ready to negotiate on that. And the overall, what I heard from both the sides, and the overall expectation of both the parties is to preserve the ecosystem. Preserve the ecosystem and also prosper Goa and also prosper your community people. And that can only happen when there is mutual exchange of both. Community itself means being in a symbiosis with one views the other person. And since I've already put what I have to state here, I would request you to please go ahead and tell how you can explore these avenues.
So when we were telling Naina about the solutions and we wanted her advice and wanted her to run it through you so that it reaches you better, since I thought you feel that we are not hearing your interests, so maybe you would understand if it's coming from her. But to add on to what she was saying, if employees are actually compensated, they'll be ready to come back to work. And Naina pointed out that you were concerned about the fish nets being torn. So while that would be resolved by the demarcated zones, the previous fish nets that were torn, they'll need to be stitched. So if our employees come back when paid compensation, we can actually engage our employees in helping you out with stitching those fish nets. And Gopal, do you have anything to add to that?
I think you've put it across succinctly. We just like to hear what Jay has to say on this.
First response is, how do I know that employees know how to stitch fish nets?
The employees belong to Miova and they are actually part of the motorsport activities that happen. And one of the motorsport activities that happen actually that Miova undertakes is we take people to houseboats for fishing, not obviously professional fishermen, but tourists come and take part in the fishing activity to just experience it for recreational purposes. So employees also being local Goans are very much involved with the fishermen community. And certain employees might have belonged to fishermen community since your community has such a strong presence in Goa. So be rest assured that those employees would be completely capable of stitching the nets, and if that's not there, if you still think, we can definitely train them to do so. It's not a very
I think since we're working on an amicable solution and an agreement, I think we can have someone from the LTF as well assist the employees
Correct.
after the compensation has been provided and their safety has been assured to us, that the nets can be stitched in whatever manner that you'd like.
Okay, so I'm hearing option and the developers option. Thanks for responding to my question. Nina, I understand you've already taken on this option. I don't think we have to immediately respond to this because we also
Correct.
build on it and address more options in the whole. And I wanted to build on what Nina mentioned first. Because what you said was, to me, a long-term idea of demarcation of each so you get assurance that this will happen again. There's something we discussed, it's something we definitely want because they're interested in long term. And the short-term idea of funds. Right now, what I'm slightly uncomfortable with is the idea that we voluntary funds only because we want to help you fix the employee situation. That is true. I do want to help you fix the employee situation. But on our side, there's a lot of losses as well. And this is why I mentioned that I want to share more on this. Will you guys give me some time here to really express what we have lost, what our fishermen have lost?
I think you can definitely express your concerns, but any of our solutions would be contingent on the employees being compensated and our business profitability being ensured, operational stability being ensured. So I'm open to hearing what you have to say, but I don't think I'll be able to agree to anything till the time compensation for the victims, or if you want to come up, or if you have any other solutions for that in mind, not just monetary, because 20 lakh is a number we put forth. We are willing to come down on that, but if you could suggest certain other solutions where you feel you can help out the victims. So, I mean, I'm obviously open to discussing what you have to say, but please be assured that that will be contingent on my employee safety, my operational stability, and my business profits.
Jay, before you address that, I would want to hear you out first. Please go ahead and tell us what you are feeling, what you are
Thank
thinking.
you, Nina. That's exactly what I wanted to say. And thank you, Sunita. I completely understand where you're coming from. You have your interests. And my concern is not just saying what I wanted to say, but compatibility. I think there's compatibility on the horizon, and my option is trying to achieve exactly that. We don't need your people to come and fix our nets because it's just a cost problem. We have the fishermen, they know the nets better than anyone else. They can fix your nets. But we need money for that because these nets are expensive. Not just that, we need money for the oil spills as well. Because some of these boats have been around for a while, dirty the waters, to make sure the fish come back and clean up the waters. And there's a lot more, and I think my council can help us elaborate on that. The core is this. We need to stop looking at this as we are voluntary funds to fix your problems, and I think what we're trying to look at it as is we should both volunteer funds here to fix both our problems. Because I think if you want 20 lakhs, I'm happy to volunteer 20 lakhs. It's just that what happens then, these fishermen, these nets, and these jet skis and all sorts. My proposal is this. Let's look at it together. We will offer 20 lakhs. If you offer 20 lakhs, and we put it under a fund called a fixing fund. We fix your employee compensation, we fix the nets, we clean up the oil spills, and in the short term, we find a way to use this money to make sure both our concerns are settled. And what's important to me is that it has to be called a fixing fund. We can rename it, but the name has to be compatible. It's for the both of us. And I've said a lot here. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I think Jay has expressed how willing he is to collaborate, and perhaps because we have a lot of things on the table right now, it would be helpful if you could help us write it on the
I think,
so
Nena,
we can just discuss it together. We're not taking it as given we can.
Yes,
Just
I want to see what they say respect on the board as well. They put a number of 20, let's put 20 on the board. And then let's put fixing fund on the board. Because that's what we're discussing.
Before we come to numbers, we had certain questions regarding what the fixing fund will have, and I think Gopal,
right.
you're better equipped.
I think we just wanted to reality check the funds that you are putting forward, the 20 lakh that you are putting forward and the 20 lakh that you want from our end as the fixing fund. So we wanted to understand where the 20 lakh is coming from and where exactly can we utilize it for.
Okay. the short answer is we have some money in our coffers. We got it from collection. Maybe you can follow up on exactly the sources of this fund. I assume you're asking for taxation purposes.
And when is this plan so that we can give a number together?
No, definitely.
I know the reasons we're asking. You should follow up on that. Yeah, it's all legal means, so we're getting this money from legal means.
No. The concern was where exactly do you want this 20 lakhs to be utilized?
I think this would be in line with what you said earlier. So under the fixing fund, this collaborative effort, we can see how all our needs can be addressed under the amount that we've raised together. But I think to this end, perhaps you've shared quite a lot. We want to know, do you have any finances of your own, or are you willing to contribute the same to the fixing fund?
I think Naina communicated already that we are willing to contribute 20 lakhs to the fixing fund. But I have certain questions regarding the efficiency of the funds and whether it will be utilized, who will be responsible for this fund, and a lot of questions which I think due to paucity of time we might not be able to address in today's session. So let me just state that I'm extremely happy that you suggested this, but I hope that majority of these funds, and if not majority, at least compensation of the victims can happen through these funds firstly. Then the fisher nets can be, the repairment of the fisher nets, the losses that you faced, the funds could maybe address that as well. And we'll get back in the next session, and Naina, whenever you are free as well, definitely, we will think about this. We will come up with a more efficient way and a more demarcated way in how we'll utilize these funds, and maybe you could tell us what you think about the demarcation of the zones as well, because that would ensure our business profitability, that would ensure your livelihood is protected, and like Chami, you mentioned the 3 L's in the beginning, that would cater to that as well. So I know at the beginning of the session I came with a very concerned attitude, but I think due to you agreeing to setting up a fund, I'm a little bit more at ease, and the tone of the session has become slightly better, and I would like to thank you for collaborating, for being open to collaboration, and Naina, thank you for coming. We'll set up a next session as soon as possible, and maybe we can hear from you as well.
Yeah, so you're so right, Sunita. This is just an idea. To make it a good option, you suggested correctly that we're going to add these concerns on the board. We're going to talk about timelines, we're going to talk about who's in charge, we're going to talk about logistics of it. All this to help us develop that option, and I'm completely agreeing. What's important to me here is that I finally feel that we're planting a seed. And it's no longer that we're fighting over who gets what, and we're finding a way that in the long term we can work together. At the end of the day, we consider your option as well, or what's in there is about demarcating the beach, and that's something else we develop. And I'm a bit more positive now that we can find a way to work together. And Shelly, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we've made quite a lot of progress. I think a lot has been discussed. Nana, correct me if I'm wrong, if you've taken anything else down in your notes. What we're looking at are two things. The fixing fund. I think we both expressed certain issues like the employees, the nets, as well as the oil spills, and that's all to be discussed, the details to be discussed, as well as the manpower and the timeline. The second one is the demarcation of the zones. And I think, Jay, this would really help because the fixing fund helps the short term, but really the root cause of the issue is the demarcation of zones. And we would love to have your guidance in the next session in navigating these two issues.
Naina, I think because so much is being said by Jay and Shami, I think we would like a quick, brief summary since there is a paucity of time as well. Right.
So, you might think that you started with the first agenda point, concerns, but what I saw is compatibility. How throughout the setting, where is compatibility together? And maybe in the first few minutes you did not open up, but I would definitely tell you that in the private session, you both have the mutual interest. Definitely have a mutual interest. I was feeling like I was hearing the both of you in each private session. You definitely want to give and you also really want to give. Now, there are certain things we have agreed on this table. Firstly, we discussed a lot about the fishes, the nets, the oil spillage, their behavior, then the ever-expanding motorsports. Then we discussed about the employees and they've been affected because of protest and their damages. And in the end of the session, we have agreed, you both have agreed, to create a, like you have suggested, create a fixed fund which will be used for the employees and the fishing community as well. Now the specificities of this can be discussed in the next session.
Naina, I would just like to state we've agreed to all of this in principle to
Yeah, definitely.
the compensation
Yeah.
being provided. If that is done, then definitely we'll come
Yes,
on to
the
these.
numbers,
Yes.
the numbers and the specific details will be discussed in the next session. What you have agreed here is the idea of
Correct.
that you want to be in this joint venture together. Secondly, the demarcation. This has been uniformly agreed by both the parties. The demarcation of the beach, where certain part of the beach will be used for the tourism and certain part of the beach will be used for fishermen. Like, if this is not win-win, I don't know what is.
Again, I would just like to clarify the demarcation was also contingent upon the funds being utilized since all of this is related. So we said that the option of demarcation is something we are open to and that would be suggested to them. But we need to be assured that our employees are being protected first.
Correct.
I think they do have the best interest to protect their employees, and that they have conveyed to me in my private session, and they have been conveying it throughout this. So you have the assurance that they are definitely looking out for employees. They are not here for just their own benefit. They are looking for employees' interest, and how you get the employees' interest from them is what we can discuss in the next session.
And we have certain business profit issues with the demarcation also. So that will need to be discussed in detail later.
I had that for agenda for next.
Correct.
So
Thank
now
you so
we are-
much.
We are seeing eye to eye here on the same page. And you know what's the good news, Nina? The good news is that you get to come back to Goa because it's clear that we need another session here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll see you again in Goa. I think we only have a few more seconds. And
Yeah.
I would like to thank you for
Thank you.
joining us today. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you, Shami, thank you, Jay, thank you, both of you. Like, you have completely instilled the trust of mediation in both of you. Like, and you being the part of the same community, you have instilled the harmony. And I look forward to having more sessions with you. I'll connect with your councils and get back to a date.
Definitely.
And congratulations on agreeing to so many terms. Now you don't have to go to court anymore. Thank you so much.
Thank you.